Are you looking for a step-by-step guide to build a fully bookable website for your hotel? Then this video is for you. My name is Joshua and I help hospitality providers to build website and develop online marketing for their business. In this video, I'm going to show you the tools I recommend to build a fully bookable website. Now I am assuming that you're on a small budget. So all the tools I'm going to be using is totally free. Most of these tools have a premium version for additional services, but for what we need to do for this website, we could use the free versions, and you could always upgrade to the premium one once it fits you. I will put links to those in the description of this video. So let's get started. Here is the first thing you need to consider if you're going to start your hotel booking website. If you don't already have a logo and branding kit, this is where you should begin. I'm going to give you some recommendations that some of my clients have used. I have used some of these and we'll go through them. 4 of the options I think you could start with is 99 Designs, Upwork, Fiverr, and I'm also going to give you a recommended professional graphic designer that I've used. I find that eventually you want to get to the point that you're working with someone that understands your brand and able to articulate it in a meaningful way online. Let's look at some of the options more closely. So this is 99 Designs. They do a lot more than logos, but essentially what they do is a competition of freelancers where you submit a job and they bid for the job. So if you go to categories, you will see the different packages they offer. Let's look at Upwork. Upwork is very similar to 99 Designs. A group of freelancers really bid for your job. Fiverr began as a website that did jobs for $5. That's where the name comes from. But today you could get all type of job done on Fiverr. With all 3 of these options, you are working with different freelancers. It's important that you read the reviews and get a really good professional designer to work on your brand. What you don't want is that they may use a template from someone else's design and then you get in trouble with copyright infringement. For that reason, I have found it best to work with a designer that understands my brand and is going to do it from scratch. So here is my recommendation. I have worked with a select group of designers that truly understand branding. Here is an example of some of their work. I will leave a link in the description that you could check it out when you have more time. The next thing you want to get is your brand color. You might already have this. If not, here is an example of a site I use to get some ideas. I use a website called Colors. It's spelled with 2 O, L-O-R-S. And here you could go to generate colors, press the space bar, and it will change and give you different example of colors and color schemes that might go together. If you like one of the colors, you could just lock it in place and continue changing colors. If you find a second one that you think goes well with this color, then you could lock that one in place and continue going until you find the colors you need. I've already identified the colors I'm going to use for this example, so we'll continue. The other item that's going to allow your website to look unique is your font style. Let's look at another website to give you some examples. If you go to fontpairs.co, you will see some example of creative ways of using your font style. Your font style is really what's going to make your website unique. Find one that fits your brand, take a note of it so we could select it when we're building your website. Let's look at the other tools we're going to need. You're going to need your domain name and hosting. What is that? Your domain name is the address of your website. For example, www.mybnb.com. In addition to that, you're going to need hosting. Hosting allows business to make their website available via the World Wide Web. They are like the computer that's going to store all your data. Here are 3 examples I would recommend. I've used them in the past and they work great. Let's start with DreamHost. They offer 2 shared packages. The first one starts at $259 monthly, but this is for a 3-year plan. And the second is $495 monthly, which allows you to do unlimited websites. If you do a shorter period, the rate would be higher. Take that into consideration. The second option is SiteGround. Let's look at SiteGround. SiteGround offers 3 packages, starting with $395 for one website, $595 for unlimited websites, and $1195 with additional space, catering for much more visitors. If this is your first website, then you can consider starting with the first package. The last option is Bluehost. Bluehost offers 4 different packages starting from $395 monthly. Again, this is on their 3-year plan. If you take the 2-year or 1-year plan, it will be slightly higher. For this tutorial, I'm going to be using Bluehost. I've been using them for several years now, and I find it's very user-friendly. If you're just starting out, it comes with a free SSL certificate. That's really your security for your website, especially if you're going to be taking direct booking. You want to make sure you have your security. You will probably need other security, but at minimum, you want to make sure you have SSL security. Bluehost will also come with free domain name on sign up. You're going to need a program to manage your booking. I'm going to be recommending in this video the WordPress hotel booking plugin. It comes with an availability calendar. You can set your different accommodation type as well as seasonal rates and include additional services, to name a few. The next thing you're going to need is a theme. I'm going to recommend 2 themes that can be used. We have the Astra theme and the WordPress themes. The Astra theme comes with a free version and a premium version. The WordPress themes are paid version, but they are well equipped to work with the WordPress plugin. So there might be a reason for you to purchase it up front. Let's look at them both. Here is Astra. Astra is not only a fast and lightweight theme, it also comes with over 100 starter sites, which will allow us to create our website in a much shorter time. Let's look at some of the examples we can use to create our website. If you come to the search box and type hotel, here we could see some examples that we could use to build our website. We're going to be using this one right here. Let's look at the other example offered by WordPress. WordPress offers a range of themes that works great with the WordPress booking plugin. I will leave a link in the descriptions so you could check them out. Let's look at the free plugin that we're going to be using to build this website. And this is the WordPress Hotel Plugin Lite version. And it can be downloaded from the WordPress.org repository. I will also leave a link in the description. But let's look at the paid version of the WordPress plugin. It is $79 for a single site and $199 for unlimited sites. It has a lot of cool features that make that a very small investment. Things like offering various rates based on the amount of persons that is booking in your hotel. That could be very useful. One of the reasons why you may want to invest in paying for the premium version is the fact that it could sync all of your bookings in one place. That means if you have your listings on Airbnb, Booking.com, Hotels.com, TripAdvisor, it can link everything with your website so you're not faced with that challenge of going to each of the booking engine to update them manually. It will be done automatically for you. So now that you have an overview of all the tools we're going to be using, let's start building our website. If you use Bluehost as your web host provider, your window will look very similar to this. We can come to My Sites and simply click on Create Site. Let's give our website a name. I'm going to call this website My BnB and click Next. Let's select your domain name. In my case, I'm going to choose My BnB. I'm going to uncheck these. Let's click Next. Okay, so here are your installation details. Take a note of it, write it down so we could use it to log in the future. But let's log in. So here is the welcome screen as you log into your WordPress website. The first thing I want you to notice is the little lock icon to the left of your screen. This is your SSL certificate. It's installed automatically for you with Bluehost. But let's clean up our dashboard. We could dismiss most of these items, collapse them, and let's delete the things we're not going to use. So we could go to Post, select it, or just choose Trash. Then let's go to Pages. Let's select these pages, and we can just choose Move to Trash. Let's check the plugins. It's important that you remove plugins you're not going to use because they can slow up your website. So I'm not going to be using Jetpack, so I could deactivate it, and we can select those and delete them. And I could say OK. Alright, they are all deleted. Now let's go and install our theme. We're going to go to Appearance and choose Themes. Let's choose Upload and let's choose Popular. We'll notice the Astra theme is listed right on the Popular page. We'll choose Install and let's activate. And it asks us what page builder we're going to be using. I'm going to be using Elementor. Choose Elementor and choose Next. Here is a list of the starter site that Astra comes with. But we're going to come to the top in the search box. We can type hotel. And we're going to be using the free version. Notice those with agency is the paid version of Astra, and we will look at that in another video. Let's use this version. So here is a preview of the starter website, and as you can see, it's already a clean looking, beautiful website. With a few changes, we could make it look just like ours. Let's look at what's going to be installed. Firstly, these are the required plugins. As we mentioned, we're going to be using Elementor as the page builder, which is what we're going to use to customize the different areas of the website. Let's import the website. So it's done, and we could click View Site to get a preview of the website. So here is it, already installed and ready for us to customize. So let's begin by customizing the header section of the website. Let's choose Customize. The first thing we want to do is update our logo. You could click on this button right here, or we could go to Header and choose Site Identity. Here we can change our logos. It's important to work along with your graphic designer to get the right sizes for your logo. I'll click Change Logo, choose Upload, and then I will drag my logo into that window. Here is the logo I'm going to use. I can update the title if I would like, and choose Select. I'll skip the cropping because I want the entire logo shown. I will change the Retina logo for those higher resolution monitors. Here is my higher resolution logo. I will select it, update the name, and choose Image. I could also see from right here how will my website look on tablets and on mobile. Let's continue. Let's change the site icon so you can see that little icon next to the name in the browser. We'll choose Upload File, and I'm going to select my site icon. I'll update the name and choose Select. There you go. You'll see it right here, and it will look like that in the browser. Let's go back, and we'll go to Global, and we want to go and change the font style. So we're going to choose Base Typography, and I'm going to be using Molly as my base font style. I'll select it, and we'll see the website will automatically update with the change. I'll go back, and for the heading, I want to use a scriptive font similar to my logo. So I'm going to choose the font Alex Brush. Here it is. I will choose it. So you will notice these headings start changing. But I want my heading 1 style to be Molly. Great. So you'll notice this font changed. Let's continue. Let's look at the colors. I'm going to choose colors, base color, and I'm going to choose my theme color. Now I already have my color, but you could select the color from within here, but it's very important to know the exact color you're going to be using. And again, your graphic designer should be able to give you this information. I have mine saved, so I will put it in now. I'll paste it, and this is the exact color code from my logo and brand. And I'll do the same for link color. Of course, you can go and change your other colors, but for now, I will leave that as is. Let's continue. I'm going to go to buttons, and I'm going to change the color for my buttons as well. You will notice the buttons now changes. I could also change the hover color to something different. So it doesn't change because I'm using the same color, but if you want to see a slight variation, then I can just tweak that a little bit to just show a slight change when you hover your mouse over the button. All right, I think I like that. We can leave it and move on. Let's continue. The last thing we're going to change is the footer for now. And here we could come and change our footer to something that we want. So I'm going to click on the button. And I'm just going to remove the powered by section. So I will highlight that and delete it. The credits on this side, I don't want that, so I can just change it from footer menu to none. And that's section 2. That should update and eventually should go away. There you go. It's gone. Let's continue. You could always go in and update some of the other options like the menus and so forth. But for now, we're going to leave it as that. We'll choose publish. We will come back and update this button so that it will link directly to our accommodations. But we need to create those first, and then we'll come back and do that. So we could close this window. Now let us exit to our dashboard. We can click on the name of our website and then choose dashboard. We now need to install our plugin to update our accommodations. And the name of our plugin is the WordPress booking plugin. Let's go to the website and download it. So here is the light version of the plugin. Again, the link will be in the description below. Click on download. Great. So let's go and install it. We'll go to plugins, then add new. We'll choose upload plugin, and we can drag our file here or select it. I will drag it into the window. So here it is. I'll choose install now and then activate plugin. It will ask you to install 2 additional pages. Go ahead and install these pages. This is for the booking confirmation details and for your search results when someone is searching for a specific accommodation. So simply click on Install Pages. Once you've installed the plugin, you will now notice two new menus on the left. One is Accommodation, where we can come and set most of our accommodation types, our amenities, our rates and services, and set our rules or settings. We will go through each of those in a few. The Booking menu is where you could come and check your calendar for booking. You can set coupons, set your booking rules, fees, and sync your calendars. Again, this is only available in the premium version. I will have a link to that in the description if you want to get the premium version. Here are some of the features that you're only going to get in the premium version. Let's go back to Accommodation, and we're going to start with entering the seasons. If you don't have different rates for different seasons, you could just choose one season. In my case, I'm in the Caribbean. We have Carnival season, and during these times our rates are usually higher. There's Christmas and those high peak and low peak. So I'm going to set 3 seasons. You'll choose Add New. We'll type the name of the season. In my case, I'll start with Carnival. You will choose the start date, and I'm going to begin my start date with February 1st. And I will end it with February the 29th, and then choose Publish. I will add a second one, and I will call this Low Peak, and I will begin it after the Carnival, and I will run it all the way to Christmas. So I will go to November 30th and choose Publish. And then I'll add the last one. Click Add New. Choose Christmas or whatever the season is you're setting. Select the start date. I will start it at the beginning of December. And the end date, the end of December. Please note your seasons are based on the dates, so don't forget to add the additional season. The next thing we're going to do is add some services, which is an excellent way to make some additional revenue with our rental property. Let's choose Services, and we'll choose Add New. And let's add a car rental service. We'll type car rental service. I'm not going to add a description, but you can add some description. We're going to come down and we're going to add the price. We're going to add the price at $50. We're going to indicate it's per day, and we're going to charge per accommodation. You can choose per guest, but typically the guest may share a car rental, so we could choose per accommodation. The other options where we chose per day, it could be once or guest choice, but our car rental should be per day. Let's choose Publish. I'm going to add 2 additional services. You could go ahead and add any other service that you have. So here are the services I added. I added a massage for $150, and it's once per guest, and catering service, which is $100 per day. Let's add some amenities. Let's come to Amenities, click on it, and we're going to add some amenities. Let's start with Wi-Fi. We can say free Wi-Fi. The slug should have no space. You could type it in lowercase, and we'll choose Add Amenities. It's as simple as that. I will add some additional. You do the same. So here are my list of amenities. I hope you added a few. Let's now look at adding some accommodation type. Before we go there, take note, If you have different accommodations under particular category, for example, if you have a range of 1-bedroom apartment or 2-bedroom villas, then you could create categories and then list those accommodations under those categories. But if you have 4 or 5 independent accommodations, then you could just add them as individual accommodations. That's what I'm going to do for this example. So let's just go to add accommodation type. Let's add the name of our accommodation. In my case, I'm going to enter single room, and then you'll add your description. Add an excerpt. An excerpt is just a short version of your overall description. Come down and add the number of accommodation. These are physical accommodation that you have. What do I mean by this? This is a single room accommodation, but you may have 4 of them. So if you do, you could change the number of accommodations here. So let's assume I have 2, and I'll change that. Then we'll choose the number of adults that this single room can accommodate. I will say 2. Do you want to have an age limit for children? You could choose it here. If not, you could leave it blank. You could also leave the capacity blank. This will speak to any variation of children and adults. So if you have a rental property that could host 4 persons, it could then be 1 adult, 3 children, 2 adults, 2 children. So you could choose the capacity here, or you could just leave it blank. Do you have a size of the property? In my case, it's 14.5 square meters, and I'll enter that. I'll then come down and enter the view. Is there a swimming pool, a city, a harbor view? Then I will say I have a swimming pool view. What is the bed type you have available? Typically, you can go to settings and enter the bed type, but I'm just going to enter it right here. I'm just going to say I have a full bed in this single apartment. Now, do you want to make these services available? And you probably should, as long as someone could select these services when they're booking, choose them at this point. Now we could come across to the right, and again, if we had different categories of accommodation, you could have either entered them in the category section, or you could enter them right here. I don't have an additional category, so I will just select the amenities. In this property, I will choose free parking, free Wi-Fi, a hair dryer, an iPod docking station, room service, smart TV, a swimming pool. I will leave out the washing machine for this accommodation. Now let's come down to the photo gallery, and I'm going to choose add gallery. Here it's very important that you plan ahead. Think about your photography. Make sure you edit them properly. Make sure they have the same size so that it's laid out properly. So let's choose upload files. You could either choose select file or drop your files here. I'm going to drag my files into this window. Here are my files. You could come to each and change the description for each file. I'm fine with the names as they are, and I will choose add to gallery. We need to select a featured image from those that we selected already. So I'm going to choose this one as my featured image and choose set featured image. And there you go. This is how you add an accommodation. I'm going to add 3 additional accommodations following the same process. You do the same. Add your accommodations and we'll continue. Okay, so you've probably entered your accommodation types. Let's go and enter the rates. Come down to rates. I'm going to choose add new. And I'm going to name this standard rate. We're going to choose the accommodation type and choose create new. Here now we need to add the new season price relevant to that room. I have 3 seasons: Carnival, Low Peak, and Christmas. I'll start with Carnival and I'll choose $80 per night. Now here is something that you may be interested in. There are times you may want to charge a different rate for how long the guest is staying. So if the guest is staying for 7 nights, you may want to offer a smaller rate per night. If you click on the add length of stay, here is where you would have done that. But note, you would need the premium version to add this variation. So for now, I will simply work with the single rate that is issued. So I will go again and choose add new season. I'm now going to choose low peak, and I'm going to indicate it's $70 per night during the low peak. And I'm going to add a third season, which is Christmas, and I'll also indicate that this is $80 per night. Once I'm finished, if there's a description you want to display, you could add that description here. You could indicate if the rates are in a particular currency, or if there's any particular instance about the rate. Maybe if there's a refund policy, or if it's a non-refund policy, you could place those details here. But I'm going to leave it as that and choose update rate. Once that is finished, you would need to go and add the rate for each of the accommodation type. So we can go back to add new. I will choose standard rate again. It's not a problem that it's the same name, it's because it's related to a different accommodation type. I'll choose create rates. And you will continue the same process. So I'm going to go ahead and add the rates for the other 3 accommodation, and then we will continue. Okay, I've just added my last rate. So now I have the 4 rates for each of my accommodation type, the different season, and the price for those seasons. Let's continue. Let's look at the settings just before we go to customize the website. So come down to settings, and let's go through some of the general settings we can use. Let's go through some of the basic customization. Firstly, you could set your search page results, and you could leave these as the default. You should do a terms and condition page differently so that guests knows what are the rules for booking on your website. Booking confirmation is important. You could set your booking confirmation mode by customer via email so that they don't need to pay ahead of time, they'll just need to confirm via email, and that's a simple way to get your website going. You could also set it by admin manually, so you could approve it at the back end. And finally, you could do confirmation upon payment, so someone can pay you directly via credit card or PayPal, and we'll look at that option soon. You could also decide your booking confirmation page, but a good thing with this plugin, it automatically created it for you, and then you could tweak it, and I'll show you where you can do that. Here is the approval time that you're given to someone that books via email. If they don't confirm within 20 minutes, then the accommodation goes back to available. Here you can set the search options for the maximum adults that your hotel or bed and breakfast can accommodate. So if you can accommodate 20 guests, then you could change this number to, let's say, 20. You can set the currency as well. So if you're in a different part of the world, you can choose the currency that fits your part of the world. Or if you want to charge in US, even though you're in a different part of the world, you can do so. I'm going to leave mine as US dollar. As you scroll down further, you will come to the section where calendar synchronization is set. However, this is only available in the premium version. So as we said, for you to get that feature, you will need to get the premium version. Here we have the admin email, and these are placeholders, so the specific information for the booking will be replaced here, like the exact booking ID. And here is a template that you have that will be sent to the guests. You could tweak these as you like. We have the customer emails. So again, you could go through each of these and change them or customize them as necessary. Let's look at the email settings. Here is where you could change the email that your booking will be sent to. You could change the color and style of the email. Here you could change it to your brand color. I'm going to update the color and choose my color that I'm using for the website, and so that it is more fitting to my brand. Once you're finished, click Save Changes. Let's check the payment gateways. Click on Payment Gateways. You'll notice a notification to the top letting you know that you have not set confirmation upon payment. Let's do that before we continue. So if you go back to General, scroll down, and where you see confirmation mode, let's choose confirmation upon payment. Let's scroll down and choose Save Changes. Then let's choose Payment Gateways again. Great. Now we could come and set the different payment gateways. You could decide if you want to get a full payment up front, or you could get a deposit, and then you could choose 10% deposit, 50% deposit, or so on. But we're going to decide to get full payment up front. You could then choose to say pay on arrival or direct bank transfer. Choose enable direct bank transfer, then come to instructions, and we can type the instructions. We could say, please deposit to my bank account, and you will put your bank account name there, and you can choose your bank account number so the customer will know. They could also indicate, please send me confirmation. Whatever you want to say. We could also enable PayPal, for example. Choose enable PayPal, and here you will place your PayPal business email address. I'll just say my BnB@gmail.com. That's not really my email address, but you will place yours there and choose Save Changes. If you want to accept credit card, for example via Stripe, if you choose it, it will tell you you need the premium version to do so. Similarly, if your payment gateway is not listed here, you're going to also need to get not just the premium version, but there is an add-on version to get extended payment gateways outside of the default that is listed here. We can come down to shortcodes, and I want you to take a note of some of the shortcodes we could use. I know this looks a bit technical, but we're going to simplify it. The reality is each of these shortcodes represent a different section in the accommodation booking. We're going to use one specifically where you could actually list your accommodation type. So this is one that we will use to replace the static page that we have. We could copy this entire code for us to use when we get to the front end. But let's look at designing our website now. We could either go to Pages, then look for your home page. If you hover over it, you could then choose Edit with Elementor. Alright, so this is the front end of our website. Now this isn't an Elementor tutorial, but we're just going to look at some of the basic things we need to use to get this website looking just like ours. First thing first, let's change the name that comes to the front of the website. So we're going to change the name to, let's delete this. We're going to put my BnB here. We'll change the location, and we can just call it the heart of the Caribbean. That's where I'm located. We could now change this button here that says make an inquiry. If you click on it right now, it takes us to the bottom of the page, but we could actually let this link. So if we click on the button on the left where we could edit the button, we'll see we have the content section. Where it has text is where we could change the text for the button. Of course, we could click on it as well. But let's change this to search availability. Because now that we have a listing of all of our accommodation, we could now have someone go and search for their booking. And where it's going to be linking right now is linking to the bottom of the page. This bookings is linked to that section, and I'll show you that after. But we could change this, and you could start typing. So if you delete that and you click on search, there is a page name search availability. So it comes up, we could just click on it. So right now, this button will give you the option to search for an available accommodation. We could change the icon if we want to. We could change the size of the logo so it could be extra small, or we could change it so that it is medium or so forth. So we're going to leave it as is. Now let's scroll down and we'll notice we have an about section, but before we do that, let's change the main image at the background that we're seeing here. We'll click on this little container option right here which says edit column. Then we're going to go to style and we see the image right here. So if we click on the image, it brings us to our media library and we could choose one of our image. We're going to select this one as our main hero image for the top of the screen. Now, one of the things you would notice is that you could read the text. It's very important that you can do so. If not, you could adjust your image as necessary. One of the ways you could do that is by ensuring that there is an overlay on your image. This template probably already came with one, but for us to verify, we could go to background overlay. And we'll notice the opacity here says 0.45. I want you to notice if I change this to 0, you notice how difficult it is now to read that white on the white wall. That is why this opacity is here. If you take it all the way up, then you realize you can't see the image at all. So that's why you want to keep a nice balance. It was at 4.5. Let's take it to that number. You could actually come in the box and type 4.5. Now that looks good. We could read the text and we could still see the beautiful image in the background. And we can choose update. Let's continue editing our page. As we scroll down, we can click on this image here to change it to an image relevant to our accommodation. So if we click on it, we have the option here to change the image. So if I click on the image, we can choose an image for our accommodation. Let's choose the shot of the pool. Click Insert Media. Of course, you will come and change your text and make it relevant to your property. Let's scroll down. Here is a list of amenities. Change it to those that is relevant to your accommodation. For example, I'm not offering an in-house bar, so I could change this to something relevant to what I am offering. If I click on the image and I could come to style and I could choose the image for something else. And let's say it's a full self-contained kitchen, and I could change the text and I could say it's a full kitchen that is offered. If you're offering a wellness spa, in our case we said we called our services massages, you could change the text. Of course, you could also change the overlay color so that the color is relevant to our brand. Let's look at how you can do that. Click on the edit column button, choose style, and we'll notice the option that says background overlay. Let's click on it. Click on hover and we see the color here. So let's change it to our brand color. There it is. What I love with the new version of Elementor is that I could save this color in the event I want to use it for other edits. Now I could use it everywhere else on the website. Let's choose updates. So notice when I hover my mouse over this section, the color changes. But the easy way to apply it to the rest of it is just to copy and we could paste the style for the section we wanted to apply to. So now we could do the same for the other sections. There you go. This section here, we could also change the icons and the text for services that we are offering. It's important that you also try to get the color aligned with what your brand is. So ideally, you would want to change the color of these image. This is a static image, so you'll need to change the color in something like Photoshop. For now, we will leave it as is and continue. We could change the text in this section, as well as we could choose an image relevant to our property. You could simply click on the section, go to Style, and we could choose the image by clicking on Image, and let's choose something else relevant to our property. For now, we'll just choose this accommodation featured image. We'll choose Insert Media. Let's look at updating our gallery. If we scroll down, click on the gallery, and in the Edit Image Carousel, we could change out these images by simply clicking on this section. It has the current images. We could uncheck these. And then let's choose our own by simply clicking Add to Gallery. And let's choose the images we would like to appear in our gallery. Great. Let's choose Add to Gallery. There you go. If you want to change the order that they appear, just click on it and drag to the different section you would like it to appear. Once you like the order, you could click on Insert Gallery. There you go. It's very important that you have the images the same size. Otherwise, it's going to look out of order. It's going to look out of sync. It's just going to look off. So let's continue. Now here we have the different accommodation that came with this theme. We want to replace this section with the accommodation that we have already added. Now you could just change the pictures or so forth, but it wouldn't be dynamic. So here we're going to have to do a little bit of coding. And remember where we had that short code, we're going to go back and copy that so that we could replace these 4 accommodations with the ones that we just entered. So for us to do that, we're going to update this page. We're going to exit to the dashboard by clicking on the top left-hand corner of the Elementor bar, and you'll see the option to exit to dashboard. Let's click on it. Now we're back at our dashboard. Let's go to Accommodation, and you're going to scroll down to Shortcodes. The shortcode we're looking for is the single accommodation type. So if we scroll down, you see this section here that says single accommodation type. Now it's typically just this shortcode here, but you could customize it to identify a specific shortcode or a specific accommodation by using the ID, if you want the title, the featured image, or so forth. So here is an example of what we could use. In this case, this is showing us an ID of 777. It's saying that the title should be true, so you want to display it, and the featured image is true. Let's copy it. And we're going to return to the front end. So you could come to the name of the website, choose open in a new tab so that we could have both windows open. And we're going to choose to the top, edit with Elementor. After you've copied the shortcode, there is one more thing I want you to take notice of just before we go back to edit the front end. If you come to accommodation types and you hover your mouse over the accommodation, you'll notice you see an ID here. In this case, the executive suite is 498, the deluxe room is 490, the double room is 383, and the single room is 477. I want you to take note of those. I'm going to take note of mine now before I go to the front end, and then we'll continue there. Okay, so if you've copied the ID for each accommodation, let's now go to the front end. We'll click the name of our website and we're going to choose Visit Site. You could open it in a new tab so that you could have both the back end and the front end open at the same time. Once we're on the front end, we could choose Edit with Elementor. Here we are. Let's scroll down to our accommodations. We now want to replace this section with the shortcode we would have copied in the list of shortcodes. So we can remove this by clicking on it or right clicking and saying delete. And we'll remove the additional information. Great. Now we want to insert a shortcode module here. To do that, we'll come to search for widget. We will type shortcode. And here we are. We can click on the shortcode and drag it to this open area here. Now we just need to insert the shortcode we should have copied. Let me go back and copy that. All right, I will scroll down to single accommodation type. Here's the shortcode over here. Let me go back to the front end and I'm going to paste it here. We now need to enter the room ID for the room that we want to display here. So we need to go back to our shortcode room ID that you should have had written down. The first one for mine is single room, which is 477. And I will apply it. What you'll notice is that it inserted all of the gallery photos as well. We don't want to display this. So how can we remove it? We can go right back to the shortcode and it will tell us. Here it is, it's saying we have the gallery and they have the option of true or false. I know this is looking a bit techy, but bear with me. So let's go to the front end. We're gonna select the shortcode and right after where it say true and inside of the close bracket, just put a space, type gallery equal, open quotation, false. We don't want to show the gallery, close the quotation. And there you go. We just have our featured image. And don't this just look perfect? All right, we just need to replace the others in the same way. So let's do that. Let's remove this section. And I'm going to go ahead and just remove the others one time. And the last one below. Instead of inserting the shortcode in all of these sections, what I can simply do is copy this section and paste it. There you go. I can right click and paste it again. All right, so we have two of these. We don't need this extra one. We could remove that one. and then we'll do the last one. Alright, and I could get rid of that. The only thing we now need to do is change the ID for the different accommodation type. So let's click on this one. We'll come to the room ID, look for your room ID. My double room ID is 483, so I'll change that. And that should update. There you go. And then I need the deluxe room is 490. And finally, my executive suite is 498. Now, you will notice that this one is shorter than this. What is really the issue here is the amenity listing is different. I can fix that by simply ensuring that the same amount of amenities are there. That's kind of the short fix. Otherwise, I could adjust some of the padding. But for that, we could do some tweaking with that. But there you go. We have our amenities already listed. Let's get rid of this one. And finally, to the bottom, we have our contact form. And we have a booking button here. Now this booking button, we need to direct it to our accommodation page. So again, when you click on it and you come over to the edit button section where it says link, you could choose accommodation, start typing, and it will come up. And we'll link that to the accommodation page. Let's choose updates. You do need to tweak some of these as you get down to the footer section of your page. We could change the logo. Now you would need to get a white version of your logo, and again, you should be able to get this from your graphic designer. I'm going to upload mine. Here is my white version, and insert media. There you go. I could always adjust the size as I need to. If I change it to medium, for example, that looks good. I can then change my number, email address, and my physical location. You have some social icons to the bottom of the page. You could also adjust these so that it fits your brand. Right now, it's showing a different color when you hover over it. So I could change the color of those by going to Style. And right now, it's asking for the primary color of the icon. And then they have the icon hover color. I want to change the hover color. So the secondary color is a color that came with this theme. I can now choose the green that I have selected. So when I hover over it, you'll notice now it has that nice green color. If there is a social icon that you don't use, probably not using Google+, you could go back to content. And where we have the Google+ icon, we could just click the X to remove it, and that will get rid of that when I click update. Let's view our website. Let's click preview changes, and it will open a new window, and we can take a look at what our website is now looking like. Let's look at that. So we have a nice layout. If we scroll down, we have a section about us. We have the amenities, and again, you could change the photos to match your accommodation. You have the other facilities that you offer, and you could change those icons. We have a gallery. The gallery fits our products. We have the packages again. As I said, just change the amenities so that it lines up as much as possible. So that will line up very nicely. And we have our section. The last thing we're going to change is the menu, so that when you click on it, it will take you to the section. But if you go to search availability, it brings you to a different page where you could enter the search for the accommodation you're looking for. You could change the amount of guests, and you can click search. You're able to see the results. You can choose the accommodation that you want. But it's something I want you to notice. If I'm in a different page that is not in my menu, if I now click on About Us, it's not going to take you to the About Us page because the shortcut is thinking you only have one main page. So to fix that, we need to go back to the Customize menu. Let's choose Menus. We have our top navigation menu. And here we could change the custom link. What I want you to do is type the full address for your website. So I'm going to type mine. It's https:// my domain, my bnb.vividconsultant.com, and then I'm going to put a // That's it. I could copy this section because I need to enter it again for the other menu options. So I will collapse that, come to amenities, click in front of amenities, and just paste that there. And I will continue for gallery and paste it there. And finally, for packages, I'm going to click in front of it and place it here. I don't really like the name packages. Let's say I change that to rooms, and let's publish it. You'll notice the menu option for rooms automatically update as well. The last thing I'm going to do is to change this button so that it says book instead of inquiry. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to choose header, primary menu, and I'm going to change this to say book. This section here, I want it to link to the bookings section to the bottom of the page, and then I'm going to click publish. If you want to verify if this is the correct link to the bottom of the page, let's check how we can do so. We need to exit this. So if we close this, it will take us to the front end of our website, and we'll be able to test this. So again, now if we click on About Us, it should now take us to the About Us section of the home page. Similarly, if we click on Book, it now takes us to the bottom of the page. How can we tell that this is the booking section? If you go back to Elementor, and this section, if you click on it, where it says Edit Section, and you go to Advanced, you'll notice the name is typed in the CSS ID. It says bookings here. So you want to make sure this is the same name. Each of these sections is named, and that's how you could link it. If I click on that and I go to Advanced, here it says packages. So you could name each section so that you could quickly scroll down to it in the menu. So if I click on gallery, it should simply scroll down to that section. And that's about it. I mean, there's a few other things we need to look at and consider, but for the most part, you have been able to build a fully bookable website. And we can just do a few final tests. If we come to single room and we choose book, here we can come and check for the availability that we're looking for. Let's say we wanted to book in March and we wanted to do 7 days from the 2nd of March. And let's say we wanted to go to Sunday the 8th. And let's say we were hoping to do a couple, and we're going to check availability. Well, this hasn't been launched, so it surely should be available. Here it is. We can see it's telling us that it is one single room for 2 adults. It will be $420. I can say reserve. When I scroll down, it's going to ask me for my details. It's just going to ask me to reconfirm the information. I will type my name. Is there any additional services that I want? Well, I want a car rental, and that should automatically add the price for the $50 per day for the length of my stay. As I come down, it's going to ask me for my additional details. So I'm going to type my name, and it's going to ask me for my email address, phone number, country. As I scroll down, notice to the end, because I selected PayPal, is going to ask me now to book via PayPal. And that's it. You've just created a fully bookable website. There's a few more things you're going to have to look at to just get it right, but that's fine. You could take some time to get that going. Also, do not forget, one of the most important things you're going to need is security for your website. You want to make sure that if you're booking persons, they're using credit card or PayPal or so forth, get a really good security plan. We do offer some security plan as well, and I'll put a special offer in the description of this video. But there you go. You've just built yourself a fully bookable website. If you would like to see more videos like this, remember to subscribe, like the video, and share. I'll see you in the next one.